this morning, targeting specifically military or air force installations, but all of those attempts were thwarted. On the other side, India, in a proportionate response, fired drones and other ammunition into Pakistan territory and have managed to destroy their air defense radar systems. My colleague Akash is with us. Akash, that information being reiterated in that press conference, and once again India making it clear that the original escalation was the Pahalgam attack. India retaliated after that, and now Pakistan is trying to escalate the matter.
Right. First of all, I'll start it by saying that both the officers, both the women officers, were in combat uniform, is sending a larger message, and is a message that, we won't disturb you initially, but if you will try to, send terrorists to our territory, our land, if you'll attack us, then we won't spare. And in fact, it was categorically mentioned by the Foreign Secretary as well, that how there was a linkage, in fact, links between the speech by the army chief, Pakistani army chief, and the attacks that happened here in Pahalgam. In fact, today, when this attack was launched on the air defense systems here in India of the Indian Air Force and Indian Army and all the infrastructures related to Air Force Shivani, it was retaliated. And then in the same language, we destroyed their air defense systems. You could not do anything, but we can do, and we did it. This is what the message is, and in fact in the press conference it was point-wise clarification on a number of narratives that have been ongoing in the social media. We know that how Pakistan is propagating several sort of theories. They are claiming several sort of jets, Indian jets that were downed by their air force. They are claiming that how they have downed several Indian drones while the retaliation was carried out in the morning today, and a number of things. But Foreign Secretary in fact has clarified on all these aspects, Shivani.
Absolutely, Akash. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll keep coming back to you for more. Let's also go across to our guest joining us. Lieutenant General Philip Campos is former Vice Chief of the Army Staff. Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat and Consular General to Karachi. Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow ORF, Wing Commander Abhishek Matiman, Defence Expert, also with us. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. And you may appreciate the delay caused because of that press conference. Let me begin with Lieutenant General Philip Campos on what the Indian MOD MEA's position is. You must have, of course, taken in the information that has come in this afternoon about Pakistan attempting to escalate and target military installations of the Indian Air Force, particularly across the international border. India has already responded. The message still from India seems to be that, okay, do not escalate as an opportunity to go full hog against Pakistan. They're saying we have responded in a proportionate manner, but Pakistan should not do anything else now.
Thank you for having invited me on your show. See, once we understand the larger picture of what has happened, you would understand that whatever is happening now, what has happened yesterday, what is happening today, and what will continue to happen is all forms of tit-for-tat responses which will happen. We are all aware of our calibrated attack yesterday morning on 9 terror infrastructure targets in Pakistan. It was a very measured response. It was a very calibrated response. It was meant purely to target terror infrastructure, and to that extent it was non-escalatory in nature, in that we did not target military locations or weapon systems as far as yesterday is concerned. But we are all aware that even by the morning, when people woke up to what had happened in the night in the form of our attacks, the Pakistan Army had started firing, the artillery had started firing on our villages close to the LOC. And that has continued today. The sad part of it is that 16 people are reported to have died and 59 people injured, which is a sad consequence that these are all innocent people living on the border. And to that extent, my sense is that they should have been warned and moved out the moment this sort of action had been taken by us. But that is the sort of action which is going to take place now from both sides.
So, what do you make of the escalation that Pakistan attempted by trying to target, they couldn't manage it, but trying to target our military establishments today?
See, there are certain levels of escalation. One, as was described and explained by the Foreign Secretary, the main escalation is the Pahalgam attack. There was one huge escalation. That's the first one. That is what triggered off what was our response in terms of what happened early yesterday morning. Now, it is expected that possibly Pakistan would respond in some manner, and it remains to be seen as to what happens and what we do about it. But in the meanwhile, what we are seeing is there will be a lot of tit for tat exchanges taking place on the border in terms of artillery shelling on both sides and sort of engagement of targets. So what is happening there, I would say, was expected, will continue, while and it is for us to protect ourselves, to make sure that while all this is happening, we do not suffer any casualties in our people, especially civilians. And there is a larger escalation which is expected in terms of possibly a larger response. And that is what we should be waiting for, and protecting ourselves and responding appropriately when these skirmishes or these exchanges of fire take place across the border.
Okay, let me go across to Rajiv Dogra, who's also joining us. The issue of escalation has come up as far as this press conference is concerned. What is your sense? Most parties, global parties, countries have asked Pakistan to lay low and not attempt anything, but they have. We have that information now. The Indian ministry is very clear that anything that they attempt will invite a response, because they are the ones who are the original escalators. We are only retaliating, and that will go on. Do you think that message will sink in Pakistan, or is that a lost hope?
Firstly, compliments to MEA and Ministry of Defence for a very measured, sober and matter-of-fact press conference where they shared all possible details short of the operational detail.
Yes.
So, it was a professional job, very well done, and the message has also been received by the foreign media, because foreign media was present there. So, reaching out to the world has been one step in this direction. As far as escalation is concerned, Pakistan is today sending out messages at two levels. One, if you hear the debates of yesterday in Senate and Parliament, and if you hear the debates today in the Parliament, there's a whole lot of difference in some of those debates. Yesterday, they were they were bringing blood, they wanted more violence, they wanted more attacks against India. Today, some of the senators were literally crying. They were saying that, save us now. So, one is a reflection of the sentiment of the public, who are really wondering whether Pakistan is going in the right direction. Second is the army of Pakistan, headed by General Munir. And General Munir has a personal stake in not letting things be, because if he now backs down, I think psychologically, I am trying to read his mind, psychologically he will be worried that his position may become shaky. So there is a personal element, and there is also the sentiment which seems to be shifting against escalation. I am talking of Pakistan. So let's see how it goes, but Pakistan army and Pakistan establishment is very unpredictable. So you can't say anything for sure.
Yes, absolutely. That's the difficulty. So Shan Sareen, the Indian MEA also laying to rest a lot of the misinformation that is coming from Pakistan, whether it's about India targeting civilians. Vikram Misri, they're clarifying that we've only targeted, specifically targeted terror camps. No civilians have actually been targeted at all. when it comes to their statements of downing Indian jets. We know, the complete laughable statement that came from their foreign minister or the defense minister when he said it's all over social media. Even the misinformation about India attacking a dam. All of this is coming from the Pakistani side. And in India, we are acting very strongly against all of this misinformation, but it certainly helps when the government comes out and puts it to rest. So, Shant, your mic.
Yeah, so sorry for that. The PC of the Foreign Secretary and the Armed Forces, I thought was brilliantly done, very comprehensive, covered all kinds of angles, including the one about this business of fake news that the Pakistanis are generating and trying to claim certain victories. Now, my counsel would be, I said this in the morning, I'll say it again. We are at a time of instant communication. Fake news travels faster than your ability to debunk it or fact check it. So I would strongly suggest that maybe these press conferences, maybe not at the level of the Foreign Secretary, but somebody from the MEA and the two armed forces officials should probably have at least 2 briefings in a day, and there should be a dedicated cell which should in real time be responding to fake news and propaganda nonsense which is the Pakistanis are spouting all the time. It's just a suggestion because this is also an information war game which you need to join and you need to play it in real time. At the time if you hold a briefing in the evening, that whole day's news cycle has already done its work. So to that extent I would strongly suggest this. But I thought the way Mr. Misri handled some of the issues and he highlighted Pakistan's involvement with terrorism, that it's a great propaganda coup for India that these jokers of the Pakistan army are standing behind a designated terrorist during a namaz-e-janaza of other terrorists. And it tells you the nature of the state and the nature of the society. All the other stuff where he debunked this business that we've targeted, the Neelam Jhelum project. It's a defunct project anyways. The Chinese have built it. It hasn't worked properly ever since it's been built. It has only eaten up money. I think if indeed we are targeting the Neelam Jhelum project, we'll probably be doing the Pakistanis a favor. But at least we debunk that we are not targeting this kind of civilian infrastructure.
Yes.
Even the retaliation which has taken place, and we said this in the morning, Shivani, it was proportionate. And it was proportionate simply because the Pakistanis were not able to inflict any damage at all. Their attacks, which they were trying to launch in India, were repelled, and the Indian counter-attack on similar targets as they were targeting has been reasonably successful or pretty successful.
Okay.
So I think that response has been proportionate. But if the Pakistanis want to now go up the escalation ladder, simply because in Pakistan's case, you have an illegitimate regime. You have a person who prances about as prime minister, who even lost his own election. Right? His brother lost his election. The whole damn party lost their election. They had 17 or 18 seats they had won, but that was catapulted by 5 times, and they were given about 80 seats so they could form a government. You have whose legitimacy is also being questioned. Now, I keep asking, what is the priority for them? Is it to save the regime or is it to save Pakistan? Because if they're going to go up the escalation ladder, then I don't think they will be either able to save the regime or Pakistan. But if
let's hope what transpired early today is going to be a reminder of what they're up against. Because Wing Commander Matiman, it demonstrated India's superiority when it comes to not just defending itself against the attacks that the enemy may mount, but also the fact that they cannot stop any of our missiles or drones. This has been proven again.
See, it has undoubtedly been proven, but what I feel is the most important factor to be borne in mind is hereafter we'll need to recalibrate our limits to endure further loss of Indian lives. That was the basic premise we reacted on when post the incident in Pahalgam on 22nd. We have lost 16 more today.
Yes. Yes.
Every Indian life lost is valuable. Let's remember, valuable for us, for the Indian state. Unlike the Paki jihadis, for the Pakistani state.
Right.
Our response to subsequent phases of conflict will need to bear this in mind while planning the volume, stroke ferocity of our responses to come and the desired end state that we want to achieve.
Okay. Fair enough. You're
Because
absolutely right.
because let me finish. Because on that very thing will depend the final lessons that the Paki jihadis and their terror infrastructure take home, despite our evident military superiority on display so far.
Yes,
That's
absolutely. No reason why India should actually have to take this, and that question has been asked many times. Rajiv Dogra, coming back to you on the other big point that Vikram Misri talked about earlier in the press conference, is the issue of Pakistan denying its connection to terror factories. Of course, in the many interviews that they've done post Pahalgam in global media, they've made fools of themselves, either by accepting or even by making statements which are as unbelievable as there are no terrorists in Pakistan. So he listed out that history, and he also talked about this demand that Pakistan keeps making of a neutral investigation or a joint investigation. We know that they turn out to be a farce. Do you think even the global community has had it as far as these demands or these excuses for terror factories in Pakistan is concerned? This is why nobody is really paying attention to Pak's excuses this time.
Well, absolutely. I mean, firstly, Foreign Secretary himself was very clinical in dismissing Pakistan's representations and propaganda on this issue. Second, what was Pathankot? We had invited their team, which included their ISI officers who had probably sanctioned that attack. What came of it? They went back, did not share a shred of evidence with us. After all, they had the accused within their country. They had all the planning documents within their country. They had all the planners and masterminds within their country. Why didn't they send us the information that they had? I mean, if they are very keen on joint investigation, that is a prime example of the fraud they committed on India.
Yeah.
Second, there has also been an international investigation. 2611 masterminds, one of whom is now in Indian prison, the other is still in American prison, that went through the entire ladder of American justice. So what are they talking about? I remember British Prime Minister, former British Prime Minister Cameron, who said, and it's on public record, that 70% of all terror attacks in the world can be traced back to Pakistan. So what more proof do they want?
Exactly.
If they want further proof, why don't they see what happened to Muridke and other installations where now people are sort of attending funerals for their 100 terrorists or so who were killed in that attack.
Yes.
So I don't think we should give great value to Pakistan's protestations because Pakistan is used to hoodwinking the world, including especially to America, whose greatest enemy is Osama bin Laden, was right next to the Pakistan Military Academy.
Exactly. I mean, that was the greatest betrayal, if any, was needed by the West, because they kept taking funding and everything else from the US, and US's most wanted was given harbor in Pakistan. So that's the treacherous nature of Pakistan. Yet there are still some in the world that continue to mollycoddle this country, and we've heard explanations from earlier. It used to be balancing India with that AFPAC region. Then it is about using Pakistan to balance India's ambitions even today, but also, of course, the fact that this is a nuclear weaponed country, so it's too big to fail or too dangerous to fail, etc. Let me go across to Lieutenant General once again on the issue of the LOC. You were talking about that. as Wing Commander was saying, that this is where we're actually losing lives. And every life has to be put a great price upon. Why is it that we continue to suffer casualties when it comes to ceasefire violations at the LOC?
That is, I agree with Wing Commander totally. It's very shocking when I saw those figures of 16 dead. We are going in to respond because we lost 26 people on the 22nd of last month. And now, within 24 hours of our retaliation, we've lost 16 people. And I don't know, there are 59, they are saying,
Injured.
Have suffered injuries.
Yes.
And there might be more fatalities. So, there is something missing out here. That while we did take retaliatory measures about which we have spoken since yesterday morning, but somewhere we also owe it to our people to make sure that there are no more casualties.
So what's the
They're all
difficulty?
preventable.
What's the
And they're all
difficulty here?
preventable.
Is it that
Yes.
we are not being as aggressive as we could be to attack the Pakistani posts?
See, it's not attacking the Pakistani posts, it is warning your people. There is something missing here. We've seen this exchange of fire across the LOC is not a new phenomenon.
Yes.
It's happened time and again over the last so many years. There are periods of intense firing and there are other periods of calm. And when we expect periods of intense firing, there are certain precautions which are taken. There are bunkers in those areas. People move into those bunkers. People are warned, nobody comes out, or if it is something which is going to last longer than that, which is the current situation, they are moved out of those areas.
Okay.
Somewhere, hearing about those 16 deaths and 59 wounded, it definitely tells me that our civil defense system or whatever is required in terms of the local administration, warning the people, taking them out from there, protecting them, that should also be happening.
Okay.
Because this is going to continue.
Okay.
This sort of escalation and where it's going to take us. At this point, it's more of tit for tat violence across the LOC where artillery guns or mortars or machine guns are firing across the line of control at targets what they see across. But this is going to continue till at some point, hopefully.
So we need to be better prepared. Absolutely. Okay, I've got a final minute left. I'll give 30 seconds to Wing Commander Matiman there. Do you believe that this situation is still very much under control, Wing Commander, or are you worried that this could escalate further, bringing India and Pakistan to a greater brink of war than already?
See, we have on numerous occasions in the past seen that we started and left things unfinished despite loss of precious lives of our brave hearts. We cited various reasons on those different occasions. On occasions, it was about international pressure mounting on us, lack of support, whatever geopolitics, lack of funds, maybe we were not economically so well off then. But then we left the things in a lurch. Starting with 1965, we gave back Pir Panjal, which is the major infiltration route till today.
Right.
1971, we gave back 93,000 POWs without securing and ensuring the return of all our brave hearts. 1999, after regaining lost ground, when we were in a hot pursuit, instead of redrawing lines and settling out at a permanent and eventually settling at a permanent solution, we left it there. So my doubt remains. The stark reminder remains still. The aim stated post the 22nd incident in Pahalgam, as stated by the Prime Minister and people below him.
Okay, fair enough.
The end state desired then has not yet been achieved.
Okay.
And I say that because of what is amply known to every child in this country, going by the poor track.
We've run out of time, unfortunately, but we will, of course, take forward that question of what more India needs to do. Thanks a lot for watching. The Right Stand is coming up after a short break.
Co-powered by
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर पर 7 मई 2025 को हुई प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के दौरान भारत ने अपनी प्रतिक्रिया को केंद्रित, संतुलित और गैर उत्तेजक बताया था। यह विशेष रूप से स्पष्ट किया गया था कि पाकिस्तानी सैन्य ठिकानों को निशाना नहीं बनाया गया। साथ ही दोहराया गया कि भारत में किसी भी सैन्य लक्ष्य पर हमले का उचित जवाब दिया जाएगा। 7 से 8 मई 2025 की रात को पाकिस्तान ने उत्तरी और पश्चिमी भारत में स्थित कई सैन्य ठिकानों को, जैसे कि अवंतीपुरा, श्रीनगर, जम्मू, पठानकोट, अमृतसर, कपूरथला, जालंधर, लुधियाना, आदमपुर, भटिंडा, चंडीगढ़, नाल, फलौदी, उत्तरलाई और भुज पर ड्रोन और मिसाइलों से हमला करने का प्रयास किया। इन हमलों को इंटीग्रेटेड काउंटर यूएएस ग्रिड और वायु रक्षा प्रणालियों द्वारा निष्क्रिय कर दिया गया। इन हमलों का मलबा कई स्थानों से बरामद हुआ, जो कि पाकिस्तानी हमलों का प्रमाण है। On the night of 7th May 2025, Pakistan attempted to engage a number of military targets in northern and western India using drones and missiles. These places included Avantipura, Srinagar, Jammu, Pathankot, Amritsar, Kapurthala, Nal, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Adampur, Bhatinda, Chandigarh, Falodi, Uttarlai and Bhuj. These were neutralized by the integrated counter unmanned aerial system and other air defense systems. The debris of these attacks is now being recovered from a number of locations that prove the Pakistani attacks. आज सुबह भारतीय सशस्त्र बलों ने पाकिस्तान के कई स्थानों पर वायु रक्षा रडार और प्रणालियों को निशाना बनाया। भारत की प्रतिक्रिया समान क्षेत्र में समान तीव्रता के साथ की गई। यह विश्वसनीय रूप से ज्ञात हुआ कि लाहौर में स्थित एक वायु रक्षा प्रणाली को निष्क्रिय कर दिया गया। Today morning, Indian Armed Forces targeted air defense radars and systems at a number of locations in Pakistan. Indian response has been in the same domain with the same intensity as Pakistan. It has been reliably learnt that an air defense system at Lahore has been neutralized. पाकिस्तान ने नियंत्रण रेखा पर आकरण गोलीबारी की तीव्रता बढ़ा दी है, जिसमें कुपवाड़ा, बारामूला, उरी, पुंछ, मेंढर और राजौरी क्षेत्रों में मोर्टार और भारी तोपखाने का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। Pakistan has increased the intensity of its unprovoked firing across the line of control using mortar and heavy calibre artilleries in areas in Kupwara, Baramulla, Uri, Poonch, Mendhar and Rajouri sectors in Jammu and Kashmir. 16 innocent lives have been lost, including 3 women and 5 children, due to the Pakistani firing. Here too, India was compelled to respond to bring mortar and artillery fire from Pakistan to a halt. Indian Armed Forces reiterate their commitment to non-escalation, provided it is respected by the Pakistan military. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Friends, this is, as I said, further to the briefing that was provided yesterday and some of the updates that have been just provided by Colonel Qureshi and Wing Commander Singh. I thought that we would just put some of the aspects related to the events that started on 22nd April with the barbaric terror attack in Pahalgam into further context, because there is a certain amount of commentary that has happened with regard to the events since then. And more than the commentary, there has been a lot of disinformation that has been directed at us from across the border. So a few things that I would like you to keep in mind. First of all, there is mention on all sides of escalation. I think the first point that you have to keep in mind is the attack of 22nd April in Pahalgam is
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome. Thank you for being with us here at CNN News 18, and thank you for continuously following us as we get you the most authentic, verified and correct information about Operation Sindoor and also the happenings post the Pahalgam massacre. There's been a lot that's happened over the last 48 hours, but what we'd like to start with, we'd also reflect on the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misriji's briefing just a short while ago, along with Wing Commander Vyomika Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Randeep Jaiswal. But first, let's get you these details. It's CNN News 18's mega exclusive input on the impact of Operation Sindoor. Not just